Hello, 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 everybody.
What's the deal?
Corin was just fiddling with his lights before. He was.
It was mad fucking dark.
You were just a shadow. You were just.
I
It was
know.
just like I was doing a podcast with the Phantom of the Opera dude or something.
Dude, imagine half of your face was not being shown.
I've probably done a show or two like that. I mean, all the technical problems I've had over the years.
I love on some of the videos that pop up that's just like this is not the actual audio. Because to me, I'm like whatever, the audio is fine. I can hear you. But like some people are so particular about the shit being crisp and on point.
No, you know what? Like the reason I put that is because I agree with those people. Like the people who are like fucking audio's
Really?
fucked up and stuff. Because here's why. It happens with me, so I know it probably happens with a lot of other people too.
Mhm.
But like if the audio's not right on something, it's harder for me to focus and pay attention. Like if
Really?
the audio is really crisp and nice, I have no problem following along and paying attention to what somebody's saying. But if the audio is like low quality, then I find my attention like starts going elsewhere. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I got to force myself to listen more closely. And then I realize like it's literally a thing where it just sounds, if something sounds more pleasant to your ear, you're going to just naturally want to listen to it more.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing as listening to a good song versus listening to a shitty song. When it's a shitty song, you're like, I don't want to listen to this shit. When it's a good song, you're like, I could fuck with this and listen to it. It's the same thing with like the quality of the audio.
I guess that's a good point because I can listen to, well, first off, if I'm listening to like a podcast or something on my ride home and the windows are completely down and it's like the audio is a little like tuned out, and you're right, when I have to pay attention more to it and have to like think about it a little bit harder, I'm like, I got to roll my windows up and listen to that like just clearer.
Right.
And also when I'm at like when I'm listening to some shit on the radio and it's like a Pitbull song, I'm like, it's okay. It's sort of annoying. Like it doesn't sound that great. But you take that shit to like a club, and and also like granted, you maybe have some free drinks in you or whatever. Your state of mind is a little different.
No, you're right about this. 100%.
But when that shit is like bumping,
Yeah.
and like playing like through some awesome ass speakers, you're
Yeah.
like, yo, this shit sounds hot right now.
There's times like if I listen to a song I like on YouTube or something on my laptop, like I'll be like, oh, this sounds good. If I hear the same song in my car, where there's like there's speakers all around as opposed to just right in front of me, and I think maybe it even might have a little bit to do with the element of surprise. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting to hear this song, and then I heard it, so it's like my mind syncs up with it and gets that excited bump. Whereas if I pick it out, then I'm already anticipating that I'm going to hear it, so it's not as good. But if it just hits you out of the blue, you're like, oh. So yeah, you're so right about that.
You ever see I Love You Man when he's
yeah.
trying to show him Rush the band, but he's playing it on his laptop speakers, and he plays it, and it's like the guy's guitar is like super low, and it's like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, it sounds a little better, and then they go to the live concert, and it was like it was awesome,
Yeah.
but he felt mad stupid because he was playing it through his speakers, and there was just no
Yeah.
bumpiness to it.
Yeah. When that
Well-
happens to me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's got to come back to me.
Okay, my bad. When that happens to me with my when my audio crashes, I always get so like that ruins my day. I'm like, fuck this shit. Like I get so pissed off by it, and it happened. It's weird because there were a few times where I pressed the audio recorder, and then at the end when I pressed it to turn it off, the audio just disappeared. Like it didn't save it, it didn't record it, and I was like, what the fuck? I pressed the thing. And then I had to think back, and I'm like, maybe I never actually pressed it to record it. And I'm just like, I fucked up or something and didn't press it hard enough or whatever. And like that shit always drove me crazy. But now every time, like I pay very close attention. I'm like, okay, pressing it now, and I look, recording 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And I'm like, okay, it's good. And I haven't
think
had an
that
issue
shit-
since then. But it happened twice to me with the recorder like that.
Where you didn't push the button or the
Where-
shit just dropped?
I don't know which. That's the thing that's driving me crazy.
Oh.
Is it either crashed on me or I fucked up? But I don't know. I kind of doubt I fucked up because I have the routine that I go through when I'm getting ready for the show, and it's part of the routine,
You usually tend to fuck up more. Like when I set my alarm every morning for work, I'm usually good. Like because my phone's always on vibrate, but when I go to bed, I'll put it on loud because I want my alarm to go off in the morning. But the times I'm like the most paranoid which probably like when you're trying to record your shit, which is like an important time, is when you like pay more attention to it that you probably miss a step. So like if I have a job interview or something like that, and I'm like, all right, am like make sure my alarm is set. Like, is that shit set? Like, it's not on vibrate. Like, it'll usually still be on vibrate because I like just overlook some like regular shit.
Yeah, that happens to me with golf. I feel like when I'm more tedious and I get more into like everything, that's when I fuck up more.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm just like kind of like going through the motions, then I nail everything, and it's just everything happens smoother. And I don't know why that is. I
don't know what it is either. Like for like getting ready or something like that. If I'm just getting ready in a rush, I'll be like watch, wallet, all that shit. But if like
you're thinking about it.
Exactly.
Where is this? Where is this? And then you get in the car, you're like, I forgot something. How the fuck did I forget something? I was going through the checklist.
Yep.
What's up with like the thing where if you try harder, you get a worse outcome sometimes? I don't get that. I guess
because we naturally don't try that hard.
I don't know what.
So you're not used to it.
Not
or
everybody's
you're overthinking?
like that. Like there are other people who the harder they try, the better they do. You know what I mean? Like the more they focus, the better the outcome will be.
Yeah.
And then there's other people who, like to mention golf again, John Daly, legend John Daly. He was always like, yeah, I never practice. People are like, how the fuck? You're one of the best players in the world. You never practice. What the fuck you saying? He's like, yeah, when I practice, I start to fuck up, and then I groove in the fucking up like swing motions.
I sort of have that mentality too with stretching.
Mm-hmm.
I guess now that I'm older, I sort of fucking have to stretch a little bit. But I used to be like, if I stretch, that's when I'll pull some shit. Where like I would just be like, all right, I'm gonna go like back in the day because now I need to fucking stretch. But back in the day, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go for a run or like
no
we never
stretching,
stretched when we played ball or anything like that, you know, like. Nope. But like, come to think, like if I don't know, maybe, but if we went to the park and we started doing stretches and fucking this and that and this and groin stretches, we'd probably get out there and pull some shit because we were like opening up our fucking shit, you know?
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I've heard stories from other people. My old barber told me a story about how, like, his boy would stretch before everything, and one time in the middle of stretching, he heard, like, and the dude straight, like, fucked up a ligament or something right there. And he was out for, like, a year, and he was like, that's why I never stretch. But, I mean, at the same time, that's also probably anecdotal as a motherfucker, and if you did, like, studies on it, it's probably true that the people who stretch more, you know, do better.
Yeah.
By the way, you look like you lost weight. You look like you've been, like, you're
I don't know. I might just shave my face. I feel
that
like
might have something to do with it, yeah.
Because I feel like when I FaceTime people now or some shit like that, like I called Molly earlier and FaceTime OD. And, like, the iPhone gives you the worst fucking angle for that shit.
Okay, that's what I was just about to say. You just got to the thing I am most self-conscious about. I am most self-conscious about the under chin thing.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, angles for that are huge. Just so everybody knows, like, angles for that are huge. Like, if you have the angle, the camera a little below you, you're going to look like you have a double chin. There's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
You're going to look like that. But you know it's bad if you're at the even height with the camera and you still see a little bit of the under thing, you got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
But everybody, when you take the camera angle and you go above, a fat person could look skinny when you do that.
Of course.
Yeah,
that's why most selfies are
from
usually
above,
from the top angle, you know?
100%, because everybody looks like Jabba the Hutt from below.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to struggle with that for the show, with different camera angles. When I started, you'll see, if you track Secular Talk over the years, the camera angle starts low, and then it slightly gets higher, 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 higher. And then now it's like above me. I'm sitting looking at the camera. The camera is not eye level. The camera is a little above eye level and pointed down at me. And that's done for a reason. That's done so, you know, you look more slim. But the downside is it also makes you look shorter. So people see me in person, they're like, damn, you're taller than I thought. Well, yeah, because the camera's above me and pointed down at me. Like right now, me versus you, everybody who doesn't know us otherwise looking at this thinks you're definitely taller than me right now.
Yeah, come look at you right now. It looks,
I look small.
Yeah.
Because the camera's a little above me.
So where my camera's what? More
your camera
above?
Looks like it's a little below your eye level, right?
Okay, yeah, that's what it is, yeah.
That's what it is. Mine's a little above my eye level. So I look shorter than you right now,
but
I'm a little taller than you. So it's all optical. All that shit is just optical illusions, man.
Yeah, that's
But
weird.
that's the shit I am most. I literally. Somebody was telling me exercises to tighten up the area underneath
I was
the
just
chin.
gonna say that shit. How like what you can't go to the
Now you can.
people have it, but you can go to the gym and fucking work that out.
Well, not the gym, but you could just do it whenever. You
Uh-huh.
you look up and do a kiss face. Look straight, do a kiss face. So you go like this.
Really?
Yeah, you do that, and it tightens this area up.
That's crazy.
And then you suck a fat guy off, and then that tightens it up.
That brings it back down. That's wild. So I mean, that fucking like turkey neck shit.
Yeah.
That
that's
shit
why-
would suck to get.
that's
Is that
why you
that
gotta
or is that just a double chin?
No, so usually what happens with the turkey neck thing is when somebody's younger, they gain a little weight. And for me too, the first place I gain weight is right around my face, right underneath and right on the sides here. And then also the belly. I got the typical like guy places to gain weight. But what happens with the turkey neck is people, when they're younger, they'll gain the weight. Then when they get older, 35, 40, they lose the weight. They're like, I got to lose weight. But they've had that weight too long there, so the skin doesn't tighten up enough.
Got it.
So you lose the weight, and then it's just looser skin underneath the
Got
chin.
it.
That's what the turkey neck is, which is why
Oh,
you
wow.
gotta, like in your 20s, you gotta say, you know what? I'm gonna get in shape, and I'll just stay that way, so you don't have to worry about the turkey neck when you get older.
It's interesting, yeah. At a certain point, your body is just on some
Fuck
like
you.
fuck
Your body's
it,
like,
this-
fuck you. Because when
this
we're
how it's gonna
younger,
be,
the
dog.
amount that we ate when we were in
Oh,
our
crazy.
teens, like people don't understand, man. I could go. There are times I went to McDonald's.
Mhm.
I would get like 2 McChickens,
We would crush.
2 McDoubles,
Yep.
2 apple pies, and a large fries, and I would eat everything. And I wouldn't even
Yeah.
feel like crazy full. I'd be like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm not gonna eat anymore just because I know how much I ate. But I wouldn't even necessarily feel full. And my ass was like 145.
Chili cheese fries at like fucking 12:30, 1 in the morning.
Yup.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that shit is fucking wild.
But then you get older and your body's like, bitch,
Yeah.
eat half that and I'll make you gain 20 pounds.
Oh my god.
It happens
You know
to
what
everybody.
I fucking remember what I was gonna say about the music. Did you ever have any CDs that you knew like what the next song was gonna be,
100%.
and that even now sometimes the song will come
You'll
on
hear the
and
end
like
of that song and then your head goes to the next one.
yeah,
All the time, dude. All the fucking time.
that's what I was thinking about, and I would used to like hate putting in CDs because I would just know the whole fucking like track. I'd be like, all right, when this song ends, the
Then the
next
next
shit's
one,
gonna be R. Kelly, like
you just know it.
fucking Ignition remix.
Yeah, and you don't, like, if somebody were to ask you out of the blue, hey, what song follows this one? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be able to answer it. But when I would be able to answer it is towards the end of the song that's playing.
Yep.
Then I'd know what the next shit is. And that does happen to me to this day. I'll be...
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have
That's-
that many CDs. I was never, like, a big music guy. I didn't have that many CDs.
Mm-hmm.
But I am embarrassed to admit I did have a Hanson CD.
But was it a single or was it like a whole CD?
Um...
Because you used to be able to
good
buy
question.
singles.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I used to have CDs. I had one of my favorite CDs back at like sleepaway camp. You ever go to sleepaway camp?
No, I was never molested. No, I actually.
Yeah, being
I
a counselor at a sleepaway camp was probably pretty creepy. Even
never
though I
went
wanted to do
sleepaway
that
camp.
shit.
What's that?
Be a counselor at a sleepaway camp.
You
They were
never
probably
did, or
all the
you did?
counsel. I never did, but I had always thought about like when I would work over the summers and made like decent money.
Mm-hmm.
I would always be like, I want to go back and be a counselor at like a sleepaway camp.
Yeah.
Because like when I was younger, all we thought was just like, all the counselors probably just like all bang each other and like just have fun.
They were probably more interested in the kids.
Yeah,
You got to be careful
Probably
of those
that.
motherfuckers.
yeah. But my favorite CD, I used to have CD albums.
Mhm.
Like was Backstreet Boys,
Hell yeah.
Millennium shit.
Hell yeah. I like
It was like CD and it had like blue spirals on it. It might have been my sister's. I might have like stole it from her.
I think I like I love that too, but I think I like the first Backstreet Boys one. I don't know the name of the album. It might have just said Backstreet Boys on it.
It might have been a white case, I think. Or no, that
It
I
was
think that
them
was
standing against
Ice
a wall or some shit.
like a brick wall.
I think it might have been like a brick wall, but it was with
I think it was a brick wall, right?
all the bangers with Quit Playing Games with My Heart, As Long As You Love Me, Everybody.
Yeah. I remember all those. NSYNC had a CD
NSYNC,
that
their shit was hot.
I think it was Bye 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 was on. It was like a red album cover or some shit.
Yep.
And they were all dolls.
With the strings, yeah.
Yes, I think that was the album.
Yeah. That was
And
their like second one, I think.
yeah, I
I
don't
like
remember
their
any of
first
their
one
other
too.
shit.
Their first one too was hot. That's Tearing Up My Heart. I Want You Back.
That might have
That
been
was their first one.
that might have been a black album cover with like just
No,
words in sync on it,
I think it was like it said In Sync and it had all their faces.
but it had their faces in the in sync words.
I
feel
think
like
it
one of
might
their
have done. I
CDs
think it
had
might have been
NSYNC.
that. I think it might have
Yeah.
been their faces in the In Sync words.
It's crazy how I remember.
It's all coming back to you. Yeah, I was
remember,
such a
like-
loser when I was a kid. I knew the dance to one of the In Sync.
I think
songs.
everybody knew the
The
Bye Bye Bye
shit.
shit. Yeah,
That's the one I knew the dance to.
because that was when music videos were hot. So like we
Yeah.
were all watching MTV. Like
TRL. Did you watch TRL? I watched
of
TRL
course,
so much.
Yeah, but then they played like 4 seconds of the song, and then they would
It
go
started
to like
out.
the next
It didn't
shit.
start out like that. It started out where they play the full shit, and then
Oh,
they
really?
slowly but surely made it less and less and less and less, and then at the
Yeah.
end they played 4 seconds of it.
Yeah, they'd be like the number one song, and it'd be a banger. Well,
Yeah.
actually. I think we were old enough to be like, this song is. I don't know. I don't even remember what number one songs were back there, like Ja Rule or some shit. Like Put It On
Probably.
Me,
Mhm.
and maybe it was a good song, but they'd play it for 2 seconds. And if it's the number one song, you should let that rock the whole time.
Oh, you should let everyone rock the whole time. That's why I'm watching
know.
it. I was watching
Yeah.
it to see that.
Yeah,
You know?
and they would cut it off. That's like when Funk Flex plays a fucking brand. He gets the most exclusive songs,
Yeah.
the shits that come out first, but he never plays the fucking song.
There are songs that to this day I'm mad that I don't like. I looked up the lyrics and I couldn't find them, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
mad I don't know them, and I haven't been able to find them. I looked for it 80 times. I remember
So what
there
do
was,
you, like for what?
there was one rap song I heard when I was driving, probably
Mm-hmm.
going back to like '07 or some shit, and maybe '08, and all I remembered, I was trying to like remember lyrics to type them in my phone to try to figure out what it was.
Yeah,
And the only one I remember is I like girls that like girls like Ellen.
I think I remember you telling me about that
And
song.
I probably told you and Jimmy and like 1,000 other people who might know about the lyrics. I'm like, yo, what's this song? In it, they say, I like girls that like girls like Ellen. And I was looking it up. I could never find it. To this day, I couldn't
that could have
find
been
it.
some LFO shit.
No. But I was actually going to bring up LFO, though. It's funny you mention them. Because we were talking about the boy bands. Do you remember them? You know the lead singer's dead, right?
LFO sang the Abercrombie song, right?
Yep.
I don't remember what any of them looked like, but I remember LFO, obviously.
Yeah. The
I feel
one
like
who
just
was
for that song. Did they have any other bangers?
Yeah, I think I fell for the girl
Oh,
on TV.
that was LFU?
Yeah, LFO.
Oh, they were talking about like Sarah Jessica or like
No, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer
Yeah.
Love Hewitt. I had a mean crush on her when I was younger.
damn. And then there was a band that also had an MTV show, and it was like say
O-Town.
it,
That was O-Town.
don't spray it. No, it wasn't O-Town. I don't think
O-Town was definitely on a show, I think.
it wasn't O-Town.
I think I know who you're talking about, though. But
They were
O-Town
like,
was
I
on a
want
show,
the
too, I think.
news, not the weather. Remember that?
I don't
Say
remember that
it,
one.
don't spray it. That's the only part of the song I know.
I think I know what you're talking about, though. You're right, that there's one that wasn't O-Town that was on
Yeah,
TV.
and I think something happened
But
with
wasn't
one of their
O-Town,
members too.
Wasn't O-Town like part of one of Diddy's fucking bands?
No, that
Danity
was,
Kane was one of them, right? The girls?
Kane. Yeah,
And then there was another...
there was another group. Yeah,
There was like
that show was hot too. I bought their CD. The band.
the
That was the name of
band.
them.
Yeah,
the band.
Yeah,
They had to walk and get cheesecake.
Yeah, Dylon.
Dylan.
Five greatest rappers of all time. Dylon, and Dylon. Because they spit hot fire.
Yo, but they were okay. There was a couple people. There was the dude Freddie. I didn't really like. He had that country like swang. You remember him?
He had another male R&B group that I liked. I don't remember what they were called, though.
Not D12. That was Eminem.
No. That's
right?
Eminem. That's Eminem. They were good, man. Eminem was crazy back in the day. Like, that motherfucker was insane.
I was just thinking, I'm gonna just say some controversial shit right now. I wasn't like, and I'm really not the hugest fan of Eminem.
How dare you?
Yeah,
How dare you?
I mean he's got a couple tracks that I fucking love.
No, you know what it is? Okay, so at the time, I always liked him.
Mm-hmm.
I never loved him. Like, I know people who literally were like, I want to be Eminem.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know a few people who were like that. I liked him, but, like, I hear it now because I have XM radio, and I'll hear, like, some of his shit come on. No, I'll tell you exactly what it is and why he was so popular. Because he was like the epitome of like the awkward young white boys fuck you to the world. Like if you're like an angsty young white kid and you're like questioning shit and don't know if you're fitting in and don't like having to do all the shit that you got to do, Eminem is like the perfect person who basically was like, fuck you. I'm like a young white kid with attitude and I'm cool and I don't give a fuck about the rules and I'm going to like rap and rhyme and shit. And it's going to be funny too because he was funny. Like a lot of his lyrics were fucking funny.
Yeah.
So he had like a great appeal, you know?
Well, he was like the first to, even when I think he got with Mariah Carey or something like that, and then she came out with that diss track saying like,
that was like
yeah, but
later
you
on
nutted
in
in like 2
career when
seconds.
he started like falling off, yeah.
Yeah, but he was the first to like be like,
yeah,
right,
bitch, I nutted fast.
yeah, like let me get at myself so you can't say anything else about it.
Well, that was 8 Mile. In 8 Mile, yeah. I am white. I am whatever.
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
live in a trailer with my mom. Yeah.
Yeah. He was great, don't get me wrong, but I think also the media fucking like built him up that way too. Like there was I wasn't a fan of, they did the same shit with Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
I didn't really fuck with them.
I liked their song Nookie. I liked it. It was catchy.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
I don't know.
You were like me in that you weren't a big fan of rock anyway. So like it's almost like the rock songs are a little bit on
Green
the
Day
side
was
burner.
all right. I fucked with Green Day. They had a
See, I didn't like Green Day that much. I thought
Really?
they were too something weird about them. That's just like too like I'm overproduced type thing. That was my attempt
Yeah,
at a
they
Green
did have
Day
that sort of like
yeah.
them and like Blink 182 had that same type of
yeah,
like.
same shit.
There was a lot of like shit we grew up with that those dudes are. I mean, they probably could all do comeback tours now and probably still sell out.
Linkin
but
Park dude killed himself.
yeah,
And that shit-
that was fucking.
But what's crazy, well, this actually is the opposite of crazy. He was in all his songs. He would like you knew he was struggling.
Yeah,
In the
and they said his
end-
last album was like titled some crazy shit, and every song on the album was like a hint to like suicide.
That's
like
so sad,
help
man.
me, save me, like I can't do this. And then like looking back on it, you're like,
That's so
That-
sad. Like, how do you help a guy like that? Like, what do you do? Like, I wonder if he was ever like in therapy and if he tried medication or if he just kind of lived with it his whole life, like just super depressed.
I don't know, but it's crazy. A lot of these people. I just saw Jim Carrey. Did you see? No. He didn't. Nothing
I know he
happened
didn't kill
to him.
himself, but what
But
happened?
there was this whole. It was like a 3-minute special or something like that. This little like documentary thing he did real quick. That he's a fucking incredible artist.
Oh, of course he is.
No, like drawing, like paint.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's got like this crazy art room and all this artwork. And he was like, he started getting deep and talking about like suicidal thoughts and all this shit. And like he does that now as like he was like the artwork controls me. Like I see something and I draw what I see. Like his shit was crazy.
Well,
and like you would never think he's like the funniest fucking guy in the
I
world.
never would have thought. But you know what though? That's the thing is like, I mean, think about Robin Williams, man.
Yeah.
Like I never looked at Robin Williams looked like such a jovial, outgoing, happy dude, but he secretly was struggling with a lot of shit.
Yep.
And you never know. You never know looking on the outside. Somebody could be a really silent, quiet person, or somebody could be super outgoing, and they could be dealing with demons that we're just unaware of.
It's usually the people that are the fucking loudest and the most on Instagram, Facebook, posting shit like, oh, look where we're traveling now, doing now is like, yeah, but if you were just appreciating that shit and just doing it, like I respect my brother because he doesn't post on Facebook, Instagram. He goes to like Spain or Dominican Republic, won't even like everybody's normally got to put up a checked in from Dominican Republic or I'm staying at this Hilton and look what I'm eating today for dinner. Like
that shit.
We traveled somewhere and I was like, oh, like let me put an Instagram pic up, like whatever. He was like, whatever, just be present in the fucking moment. Like you're here, like
Dude, that shit. That's why I had a personal Facebook way back in the day, but I deleted it because that was the first time I ever experienced in my life when I had a personal Facebook where I spent like 4 hours doing something. And then at the end of the 4 hours, usually if I do something for a long time, at the end of it, I think like I accomplished something and I got something out of it. And I'm like, I'm happy I did that. it was the first time where while I was doing it during the 4 hours, I was into it. I'm like, ooh, this is fun doing this, doing this, doing this. But then at the end of it, I was like, I don't feel happy about what I just did. And I think I just literally took 4 hours of my life and threw it in the garbage. Yeah. I have nothing to show for it. And right when that happened, I deleted my personal Facebook. I was like, I don't want this shit. Because it's like you buy into this bullshit rat race where it's almost like you and everybody you knew or know, you're vying for like status. Like you're trying to out-status one another and trying to pretend like you're happier than the other person. And then they try to pretend like they're happier than you, which gets to what you were talking about. We're like, oh my God, here's me on a beach in Costa Rica. And oh my God, this is me at my friend's birthday party. And look at us, we're having so much fun. I have a cup of vodka in my hand. Do you see this? Here I am at the beach. You see how flat my stomach is? Oh, yes. And that becomes like a really unhealthy addiction. Where people, they thrive off of like that form of competition. But with that, what is it there at the end of the day when you do that? Like you have nothing. You just have a bunch of fake pictures pretending you're super duper happy, way more happy than you actually are. Mm-hmm. And you're creating this fake image, almost like, and by the way, I know this is way over the top and this is not analogous, but it's almost like a dictatorship regime where it's like, you're trying to pretend, like, you know how they show Vladimir Putin, he's like not wearing a shirt, and he's riding a horse, and he's fucking fishing, and he's doing that to dupe over people in the country, go, our leader is so strong and so macho, look at him, he's holding a gun and riding a horse. And it's like, no, he's obviously just trying to like stunt to act like that's the case. That's what people do on Facebook all day long, man. All day long. And by the way, it's not everybody on Facebook. Like, we all know people who are just, whatever, older people who, just every now and then post a few pictures like, here I am with my grandkids or whatever. Yeah. And that's cool. But with our generation, I think, with a lot of people, it becomes a very unhealthy thing that takes up too much time. And at the end of the day, there's nothing to show for it. Whereas other things, if you're obsessed with a sport, for example, or you're obsessed with a particular hobby, a particular art form, you have something to show for that at the end of it. And you're like really nurturing or nursing a certain skill you have where you feel more fulfilled when you're done with it. But when with Facebook or whatever, it's just like, who can create the better mirage and pretend they're, feed their ego more and be on the next level. It's like, it's just so gross. You want to take a bath and get back away from it when you look at it.
For real. Yeah. I just deleted my fucking Facebook for like the fucking 20 billionth time. I'll probably re-download it like tomorrow.
There's a lot of people who've done that. I personally, my addiction that I feel like is a positive addiction is Twitter, because
but you're active on it, like.
Well, yeah, but everybody I follow, it's all like news stuff, politics stuff, mix in some of my hobbies like golf. I follow Phil Ivey, poker, so like you get a mix of everything I like and jokes mixed in there as well. And then also if I'm trying to convey something, a political idea or something, or get a fact out there that I read in an interesting article, it's a medium where you kind of get right to the point and there's no bullshit.
But it's also how would you, like, Facebook, you don't really get news, but Twitter you could get, I was never a fan of Twitter. I was like the last one to the Twitter party. I'm still slow on this shit. But like I get news. Like I just found out about like breaking news. Fucking Kyrie Irving fucking traded to the Celtics. I found that shit out. Like I wouldn't like if I'm not on Twitter I find that shit out so late.
Right away on Twitter, man. Everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like my boy could text me like, yo, Kyrie, blah, blah, and I'll be like, oh, what the fuck happened? And I don't want to be that dude that doesn't know what the fuck happened.
Yep. No, Twitter's great with getting, like, it is where you're going to learn about anything first. Yeah. The 24-hour news networks are going to be much slower than Twitter. They're going to get some of their shit from Twitter. So, yeah, it is great in that respect. Yeah. You saw what happened with Afghanistan, right, with Trump's speech? You saw me tweeting about that?
I was watching the Big Three last night. I was watching the Giants preseason game, and I put on Trump speaking. And honestly, like, I've said this before, it's probably not the right way to go about it, but it's almost just like he's our president, but I haven't paid attention to anything he's fucking doing, whatever he's saying. So I put it on. listened for like 2 seconds, and I was just like, fuck this. I don't even want to give him my viewership right now.
So he announced that we're staying in Afghanistan. That's what he said. We've already been there 16 years.
So Obama originally wanted to get us. His plan was to get us out fully, right?
No, Obama didn't mention Afghanistan on the campaign trail much. He said we got to get out of Iraq.
Okay.
And he portrayed Afghanistan as like the smart war. Now, one would still think, though, that, at a certain point he would have said, this isn't going to work, let's get out of there. But he escalated troop levels and then drew them down to a certain number. I don't remember what the number was, maybe about 10,000 by the time he got out of office.
So we were originally in Afghanistan, George Bush, because of 9/11.
Right. So that was the first place they invaded. That was the first one. They said
because the terrorists and Osama bin Laden were from Afghanistan.
They weren't from Afghanistan. They were hiding in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And the Taliban was protecting them. So
okay.
The Taliban is like a guerrilla army in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and they were protecting Al Qaeda, or they were protecting Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. So that's the first place we went. It was very quick. Like 9/11 happened, then we went to Afghanistan quick.
Now I saw yesterday there was only there was this one lady that was like the only one going against it or something like that.
Lee, yeah, the only one. It was like the vote was 420 to 1. She was the only one who said, let's not do this, because the language in the authorization for the use of military force from Congress was like open-ended. It was like, we're going to go after the terrorists. And it's like, wait, what do you mean terrorists? Like, you can use this as a definition to go after anybody in any country. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So
do you remember how you felt back then?
2001, how old was I? 88, 98?
Oh, we were
13 years old.
Grade year
yeah, I wasn't.
So
we weren't politically aware enough at that point. Yeah.
True. That was a dumbass fucking question.
I still get I understand of all the military actions. Like, I get let's get Osama bin Laden thing. Like, I get that.
That one doesn't seem like that knee-jerk reaction doesn't seem like it was some move to do something else. That one actually seems like, all right, we're really trying to protect ourselves, right?
That's why a lot of people
that one doesn't seem like
it wasn't
oil,
controversial as Iraq was, because it was like, okay, we get it, Osama bin Laden, and Osama bin Laden's right there. Like, that's where he is, so let's go after the guy who just attacked us. Which is why most people at the time were like, okay, But then they did Iraq, and that one, nothing to do with 9/11. And then,
so why do we move to Iraq? Because
so they tried to link Saddam Hussein, who was the head of Iraq, the dictator of Iraq. They tried to link him to 9/11. And they said, oh, he, worked with Al Qaeda. It was utter bullshit. And then when people realized that was bullshit, then they just moved the goalposts and they were like, oh no, he has weapons of mass destruction. And it's like, what? You were just saying how he did 9/11. Now you're admitting he didn't do 9/11, and you're just saying he has weapons of mass destruction, and you didn't even establish that he's going to attack us or anything. You just said he has weapons. Like, he was our ally for the longest time.
Decisions that are beyond huge, that are they're worldwide changing decisions.
ISIS, because we did Iraq. ISIS was created in part because we did Iraq.
Yeah. How did they end up with all the guns? We gave who the guns? Like, we gave who a whole bunch of guns to protect themselves from someone?
So in the 1980s.
I feel. I mean, should I know this shit?
No, I mean, a lot of people don't know it, but we try to talk about it as much as possible so that people do know it. But in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan gave the Mujahideen weapons and money, and the Mujahideen later broke up and became the Taliban and Al Qaeda. And the reason why he gave these Muslim fundamentalists guns and money is because at the time the Soviet Union was fighting a war in Afghanistan. So we basically said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So we're so much against the Soviet Union that we're going to arm these Muslim fundamentalists to fight the Soviet Union, and that's cool. And then, of course, they ended up, they've used those weapons against us. And we never learned our lesson because we're arming jihadists in Syria too, right now. Still doing that right now. Saudi Arabia is our top ally. They fund jihadism all around the world. So, but Trump. Now, the thing that's so crazy about Trump is that I just did the story today.
Mm-hmm.
He said about a zillion times, okay? No joke, at least 10 different tweets.
I saw a couple of the old tweets from like 2011.
From 11, 12, and 13. And then also he said it on the campaign trail when he ran for president. Repeatedly, one of the few things he was consistent on was Afghanistan is stupid. What are we doing there? We're wasting all this money. We're going to get nothing out of it. Let's invest in our country here at home and get out of there immediately. That's the argument he made. And then now he announced yesterday, we're going to stay there, or we're going to increase troop levels.
What does he benefit from that shit?
Well, that's what I was trying to get at today. I'm like, okay, either you don't really run anything, and the deep state runs everything, like the generals who are already there and the neocons really run everything, and the president's just a figurehead. So either that's the case, or you were just convinced by some bullshit arguments that people gave you. You know, there's no other option. You're either like an idiot who is easily convinced against what you used to say, which was right, or you don't run shit, and it's really the deep state, and you're just a puppet who goes out there and does their bidding.
It has to be. I mean, it has to be the people that are down there just saying like, dude, like we're fine here, like, you know, or like controlling him. I mean, because what benefit? I don't get what benefit there is to say one thing and really mean it, and then when you're in office and you actually have the power to do something about it,
well, that's
just completely change your tune. Like,
that's the creepy thing, right? Is that this is what happened with Obama and Iraq too. Is that Obama on the campaign trail, we're going to get out of Iraq, we're going to do it as quick as possible, and then he drew down some troops, but he did it without even wanting to. The reason we ended up drawing down troops is because Chelsea Manning leaked the video of our soldiers killing civilians and then like laughing about it. And then the Iraqi government was like, okay, get the fuck out. Like, we're not going to agree to keep having you here. We're not going to, like, partner with you or anything. And so we couldn't get a deal, and so we started drawing down troops. But then we got troops back in there before Obama left office. So it's like, Obama was, I don't deny that he believed, hey, we should get out of Iraq when he ran. I don't deny that Trump believed, hey, we should get out of Afghanistan when he was, you know, tweeting a few years back. But every single fucking time, you have the opposite policy ends up happening, and it's always more war. And think about how fucking crazy it is that even if you listen to the motives that they say they have, the people in the government, okay, what points did they make when we first went into Iraq and Afghanistan? For Afghanistan, they said we got to take out Osama bin Laden. That's what they said for there. For Iraq, they said we got to take out Saddam Hussein. They've both been dead forever. They've both been dead for so long, and nobody says, like, okay, we got to go now. We just did what we said we were going to do.
Yeah.
Nobody says that, but it's like, well, you guys said that was why we went in, and now you're still just staying there. And then when you ask people, hey, what's the point of us still being there? Like, what? Like, you say we need to win there. What does winning mean? Nobody says anything. It's just like, yeah, we're just going to, I don't know, we're just going to be there. So what the fuck? Dude, we've been in Afghanistan for 16 years. That means a fucking 15-year-old who was born in the U.S. has never not known us at war. All they know is us at war. And the media doesn't fucking talk about it, so they act like it's the most normal thing ever. Like, yeah, there we are. We're just bombing people over there. And dude, we spent, in Iraq, $7 trillion. In Afghanistan, $2 trillion. We're just wasting this fucking money. And half the country's poor here. Half the country makes $30,000 a year or less. Like, what the fuck?
And when we send, I mean, nothing against the military, but, like, even if we pull them out, they're still getting paid, right? They're still going to get money if they're not overseas and shit like that. I know you get more money, I think, if you're a soldier and you get deployed overseas. So I know in that sense we're probably losing more money and spending more money.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly would happen with the numbers, like how many would not be working versus working and all that stuff. But honestly, to me, that's like almost irrelevant because it's like, you know, if you're paying 1,000 people to cut your lawn with toenail clippers, that doesn't mean we should keep those 1,000 people employed. They're doing something that we don't need. Like, we don't need that. Same thing with the war. I mean, we're going to build an industry around war? Like, that's fucking crazy to have, like, oh, this is how our economy works. We go fight everywhere. What the fuck is that shit?
We still make, like, these fucking naval ships and all these airplanes shits, right? Like, and that's just, we have enough.
Well, exactly. Like, that gets into...
that get that shit.
that gets into what Dwight Eisenhower said in his farewell address. Dwight Eisenhower was a Republican president, and he warned in his farewell address of what he called the military-industrial complex. And by that, he means be careful, because war is really profitable for a small number of people. And if those people get to pull the strings and call the shots, we'll be doing a lot of wars so that a few elites can make a lot of money. And then you go back and General Smedley Butler, he wrote, he was a general who kept it real. I know that name is hilarious. General Dick Butkus.
Smedley Butler? I wouldn't have took him serious if he came out and said some shit.
He wrote a letter back in the day and basically said, war is a racket. And then he goes on to describe how it's basically, elites sending poor young people to fight and die so they can make more money. And that's it sounds conspiratorial, it sounds Alex Jonesy, but how else are we supposed to look at it when the United States pretends, oh, we're there to do humanitarian, intervention and save people's lives. Meanwhile, we're best friends with Saudi Arabia, and we cheer them on as they're massacring civilians in Yemen, and they treat women as second-class citizens, and they behead people in the public square for bullshit charges like witchcraft and sorcery. We're not allowed to say we believe in human rights, and then we aid and abet and cheer on the number one regime that's against human rights. That's just utter bullshit. So then what's the fucking motivation? Mm-hmm. The motivation isn't human rights. That's just patently obvious. So, and this is nothing at all against the soldiers, because they're also victims of this, because the soldiers, they're not the ones making the policy. They're the ones who follow the orders. So the real...
I think you're fucking them up even more, or brainwashing them, saying there's problems over there, and they try and find them without anything really actually being there.
Yeah, these young kids are fighting and dying for causes that it's not necessary.
I saw Ann Coulter tweeted that shit that you retweeted
against Trump. Yeah, she's against Trump on this Afghanistan thing. She's like, what?
She'd be a fucking genius if she can flip her whole shit. She doesn't understand that. Like, if she started saying shit against him, people fucking despise her, but they have a little bit more respect for her.
Well, it's interesting because Ann Coulter is one of a few people on the alt-right, which I don't know if Ann Coulter would accept that label or not, but she's certainly kind of allies with people on the alt-right.
Like the neo-Nazis, all those people?
Yeah, who on a few issues, they make sense, and they agree with normal people. One of them is intervention, where they're like, what the fuck why are we fighting wars everywhere? Even, what's-his-face? Richard Spencer, the guy who... is like the neo-Nazi, white supremacist, alt-right guy.
Yeah, the guy who got punched, right?
The guy who got punched. Even he, has said, like, I don't know, like, he said when he was younger, he saw, like, George Bush and neoconservatism, and he was like, this is some bullshit. Excuse me. I want to create, like, a right-wing movement that is not in favor of, like, wars for no goddamn reason. Now, unfortunately, that movement also happens to be massively, massively openly racist and bigoted. But even with Steve Bannon is the guy who Trump just fired.
That dude is so fucking ugly.
He is ugly. He's the editor of Breitbart. But even he, like, on a few issues, foreign policy, and on some economic issues like trade, he's an old-school paleo-conservative, so he actually makes sense on this stuff. He doesn't want all these wars. He doesn't want to outsource all of our jobs. So what you find is that, is really, among everybody except elites, like the establishment, they say, let's get out of these wars. Like, everybody. You look at the polls, I was talking about it. In 2013, only 17% of the American people still wanted to be in Afghanistan. And we're years past that now. I haven't seen another poll since then, but if back then it was only 17%, back then it was more unpopular than Vietnam. So what the fuck do you think people think about it today?
Yeah.
They're probably like, what the fuck are we doing? Because we're paying for it too, man. Like, this
I
is
think
our
people
taxes.
are just numb to it. I think, like, for me, I'm just a know-nothing person. It's just almost like, yeah, we're just always there. Like, we always just have troops there.
I think you're right, but I think people are, like, casually against it. Like, if you ask them, they'll be like, yeah, let's get out. Like, what are we doing there? But you're right. It's just like a casual being against it, so they're numb to it. It's like, yeah, I guess that's what we do, but I'd prefer us be out. But it's like, this is what our fucking tax money goes to, man. Like, I wish I was proud when I paid my taxes. Like, I wish when I paid my taxes, I think, like, Like, fuck yeah, like, a lot of this money is going to healthcare. A lot of this money is going to people's education.
It might have been you who said it. Like, you should have an option on your taxes. Like, I want, like, whatever, 30% to go to schools, 20% to go to roads and to holes and shit.
I didn't say that, but it's not an idea I'm necessarily against. Because I think if we were to do it that way, we would have much better priorities. You know? Like, I think your average person, if they were given a list of boxes and told you have to check 5 or whatever it is, I think most people would pick the things that make sense. Even the conservatives would say, yeah I guess healthcare. If you're going to give me all these options and say you pick 5, okay, healthcare is going to be one of them. So I mean, that's a better idea than how we do it now. Because the way we do it now is just corporations lobby the government to give them special favors, and big pharma and the military-industrial complex and the oil companies and Wall Street, they get whatever the fuck they want, and then we end up paying for all the garbage, paying for their bailouts, paying for their subsidies, paying for their tax breaks and their tax havens, paying for their wars, and we just all get fucked, man.
Well, I heard something today. I mean, so there's like state taxes.
There's state
some
taxes.
States don't have state taxes,
some don't,
right?
Yeah.
Like Florida and all that shit.
Yep, they don't have an income tax. They have other taxes, but not income tax.
And that money, well, so like a state tax. We pay a state tax and it goes towards the states for roads and all this shit, right? So someone was saying in Illinois, like they're so in debt. So why do we still pay fucking taxes if like states are in debt? And they were saying that like they're gonna stop construction on like highways they're building and shit like that.
So if they're in debt, that would actually mean that people would need to pay more taxes, probably.
Yeah, but
that's the only way you can actually fund the things that the state has to fund. But like,
and isn't there just like reckless spending at the top that it's almost just like you're paying all this money, you don't know where the fuck it's going?
And oftentimes in the Republican states, what you find is that they're taking a lot of that tax money and they're giving it towards tax breaks for corporations to try to incentivize them to come into the state. So that's something that that happens in a lot of red states. They'll say, oh, we'll give you a tax break when they. So it's like a welfare check to a mega rich corporation to get them to set up shop there, and then oftentimes these corporations don't create nearly as many jobs as they promise that they're going to create when you do that.
It's almost like a fucking super duper celebrity getting comped at all these restaurants for their meals, and they get to wear
exactly what it's
fucking
like.
Clothes for free and
that's
shit. And
such
it's like,
a great point. I never thought of that.
He doesn't need that.
I think I'm going to use that now on the show. That's a great point. It's like the last people who really need it are the ones who are getting the special treatment. And then you got fucking poor people
coming into a restaurant like, hey, like if someone was like, I'm not going to do drugs, please just give me a fucking cheeseburger. They'd call the cops on the dude. He'd get arrested and fucking thrown into jail for 40 years for asking for some food.
No, I want a cheeseburger. Why'd you say that? How's the diet been going, man? That means you cracked at least one day.
Oh, I've been cracking, but I've been trying to have during the week. I've been having just turkey with cheese and been eating a little healthier. I made like three meatloafs. I've been eating that at night, which I feel like is pretty healthy, even though I'd spread like the whole breadcrumbs on my whole shit when I made it. But my excuse right now is I'm trying to be more balanced, but it's been tipping a little bit more.
I like that.
I texted you yesterday when I went to Burger King.
Yeah.
And I was contemplating stopping at McDonald's first to pick up fries to put on my Burger King fucking burger, which
that's literally the opposite of a diet.
I know.
But you know what? Look, man, I'll keep it real with everybody right now. I've been slipping too with my diet. I was good for so long. But you know what happened is, like, I was done. All my good food, I burned through it. I didn't have enough time to go to the store. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And so you fucking end up scrapping together whatever you have around the house that's not that good, or you just go next door and get something from a place that's not the healthiest. But you know what? I did compensate in a real way. I increased the amount of cardio I've been doing by a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that I kind of make up for it. But you still got to be, like, look, you have to eat at least like 50% healthy, though, because... just for health reasons, if nothing else. You know what I mean? Like it's good. Everybody should have a good diet and exercise and stuff. But if you're gonna slip with diet, make sure like you at least 50% are on point. Where like, okay, make sure you get some fruits and vegetables in you. Make sure you are eating some fresh, good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I just recently ran out of the green juice, but I got another order coming, my V8 healthy green juice. But I feel like
drink that shit.
But I was going to say, yeah, exactly. But that's the point, is like it kind of tastes a little shitty, but you get used to it after a while. But like,
Yeah.
it's enough where you go, like, oh shit, like this is actually good shit. So you almost don't feel as bad if you cut a corner here or there when it comes to the diet. You know, it's like, well, I had the green juice, so what am I gonna do?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I also like I'll see an old photo and I'm just like, fuck, I want to be at that spot right now.
Oh, at the peak of your
like that gets me because I'm just like, I'll start thinking, I'm like, even if I work out tomorrow my hardest, like I just want to be at that spot right now.
But
like,
that's the thing.
It's gonna take a while.
So that's a good point, because I think we've all experienced that, man. Like, I want to get to this and I want to do it now, but it's like, okay, but that's literally not possible. But that's the downside. But the upside is, what makes it possible? Routine. So if you just fucking marry a routine and treat it like it's a fucking religion, like, no, I'm not fucking deviating from this shit, then the results will come, and it'll be a situation where you'll notice the results and you'll be like, fuck, I didn't even expect it to come this quick.
Yeah.
It'll be like 4 months later. You'll be like, fuck, I'm already like where I wanted to be. And it's just because you stuck to the routine and just went through the motions.
Yeah.
Showing up is 9/10 of everything, man. Just showing up.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, here I am.
True.
I'm at the gym. I'm tired as a motherfucker, but I showed up. And so you just beast through it.
Yeah, I'm envious of people. Like, my boy is on Snapchat, and every day he's at the gym. It's like, just left my workout. And I'm like, fuck, man. I love that feeling. Like, being that person. Like, leaving the gym every day and just being like, I'm going to be here tomorrow, the same time, leaving this shit. But I'm not that person.
Well, for a long time, we both did it. It's just a matter of getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
I just got I stopped CrossFit for a little bit. And I just joined, like, a regular gym.
Uh-huh.
I haven't been yet, but I think I'm gonna get back to just doing like my regular shit, like just maybe like some chest on Monday, whatever, like
some regular
legs,
weightlifting
back,
and
shoulders,
stuff.
all that shit. You know.
So what made you turn away from CrossFit?
I don't know right now because the cost of it and I figured out the amount of times that I would go just didn't match up. Whereas like on my wife's health plan,
right,
there's a gym literally like a mile away from my house, a nice ass gym. It's $15 a month.
Oh, you can't say no to that. Yeah.
You know, like, come on.
And they might have classes there, too, if you ever want to do yoga or some shit.
Spinning. It's,
which, by the way,
Fitness.
I'm kind of interested in that, not going to lie. Yoga?
Yoga I'm a little interested, but the bike spinning classes is what I'm going to try.
So for me, I don't like spinning. I know I always just feel like calling it cycling or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't like that because I always feel like it gives me more of a leg workout than a cardio workout.
True.
And I'm looking for a good cardio workout.
Mm-hmm.
But for yoga, I would definitely try yoga.
I feel like the hot yoga would be good because it would like automatically force your body to sweat.
But you know,
when it's hot, you could be more flexible and shit like that.
But I feel like
some hot ass girls in your class.
I feel like there's a big downside though to that because I feel like there are times when I've been in like a hot place and I start feeling like shit. I'm like out of breath and I'm gonna faint or some shit. And then I need to get in front of a fan or throw some cold water on my face, and you're just rolling the dice if you go into hot yoga. I think I'll sweat enough in a regular fucking yoga class. Never mind a hot
that's
yoga
true.
class.
I don't know. I don't mind the hot shit. I like sweating like a motherfucker. When we were in high school, I don't know if you remember this, but our boy got like a brand new Volvo. It was like red and it was fucking like a fly ass car.
I remember.
He parked around the circle, which was right at our high school, and for some reason his car was like unlocked. So me and my other friend just sat in the car. It was like 9,000 degrees that day. And we just wanted to see how long we could sit in this car with the doors up, like everything rolled up. He had black leather seats. We just wanted to see how long we could sit in the car and sweat it out. And I didn't mind doing it. Like for some reason, I don't mind being like very hot and like sweating because I feel like something's happening with my body, like releasing a whole bunch of
purifying,
shit that
exfoliating. Sure.
But I feel like you're the opposite. When you get really hot, like, you know, we've told the story before, when you finish playing ball, like you had to jump right into the pool. And like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to do that, but I don't mind being that uncomfortably hot, whereas you, I feel like, need to automatically be cold again.
So I used to be, like, if you asked me even 3 years ago, hey, what's your favorite month and why? Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Summer, 100%, because it's bright, it's hot, and I don't mind very hot weather. I take very hot over moderately cold any day of the week. Like, I was actually always more on the summer, train, and I would always say that's better. But for some reason, man, recently, within like the past year or two, now I'm more like spring's looking mighty fine and fall's looking mighty fine. So I used to be more of I don't mind the heat at all, but no, now I'm kind of strongly in the...
Well, spring and fall is an easy one to say, like, yeah, I would take that. But, like, people ask that question all the time. Would you prefer really cold or really hot? I don't fucking know. I think I would take really hot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, no, hell no. I take really cold over really hot any day of the week.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, and also people say when it's really cold, you can put a whole shit ton of layers on.
That's true.
As opposed to hot.
Yeah.
You can only go down to your skin level.
Yeah. I used to not be as bothered by sweating and heat as I am now. I don't know if it's just happening with age or if there's other things involved with it, but yeah, now I'm, I get a good sweat going every time I do cardio. And like at the end of it, I always start feeling like I want something here. I want like a fan blowing on me, or I want to throw some cold water on my face. Because something happens with the heat and the breathing where it's almost like, not that I hyperventilate or anything, but like my body's almost like trying to let me know in advance, like, just a heads up, bitch, if you try to sprint for 4 minutes, like, okay, you're about to sprint for 2 minutes, but if you try to sprint for 4 minutes, we're going to send your punk ass to the emergency room type shit. It's like my body's letting me know, like, all right, you're going to chill in a little bit, right? Like, you're going to relax here in a second, right?
It's crazy how it's such a mental fuck, because even when I'm running, like, in my head and in my chest, I'm good. I'm like, I could tell myself, like, no, you're good. But then my legs are just like tired as fuck, or they're like my calves are bumping. I'm just like, you gotta stop. But then I'm like, nah, you could keep going.
Yeah.
And it like you could always push through. It's just like sometimes you can't.
Yeah, no, but like for legs in particular, I had like the notorious chicken legs for the longest time, and it was only in the past 3 months that I started seriously working out my legs and like on the regular doing like weight training for my legs and stuff, deadlifts, squats and shit. And I needed that, man. I had like these twig ass legs that would get tired so quick. Like I was always pretty good at sprinting because I have the decent fast twitch muscles and stuff, but I can never do endurance shit because my legs are just too weak. But now that I started doing it, it's been better. But I also learned I got to start doing more glute activation exercises before I do those exercises. Because
like for your ass, like the thighs?
Yeah, because I have lazy glutes that don't want to fire up even when I'm in the middle. Like, it's so easy for me to just start compensating with my back when I'm deadlifting or something.
Or like back squatting? Like, can you get low on your back squat, or
I don't do back squats? No, I don't do back squats. I don't have.
Because some people aren't flexible to get low on like their back squat, which
that would be a problem for me. That would be a problem for me. The squat motion in general, I struggled with for a long time, like just getting my form right, because I always tend to, just compensate where my back starts carrying a burden.
Which is weird because don't you have to be semi-flexible on to drive? Like,
well, I was just gonna say, I think what happened is because my golf swing, I have a very like limber back. Where
torso area.
I get a good, like when I swing, I get a really good shoulder turn, and my back can stretch. Like I've been playing golf for so long, and my back is very flexible, and I can hold a lot of like tension in my back. So, like, I think I revert when I'm doing leg exercises. My back is like, bitch, I got this, because my back has been strong for a long time. So, it's like my body reverts to, it's easier for my back to handle this than my legs, so it just goes back there. So, that's why I got to do the glute activation to, like, fire up my ass muscles so that they know, that sounds hilarious, so that I could fart while I'm doing deadlifts.
You always want to fire up your ass muscles.
Eat some jalapenos and have some fun.
Oof. I think I saw something. There was a fucking jalapeno eating competition or some shit.
Oh, no.
I don't know how they did it.
Oh, no. That's horrible.
Oh, and I got frozen pizza the other day, but I don't have a Costco membership, and I wanted to try that Kirkland pizza so bad.
Oh.
I ended up getting just like some generic Tombstone, and then...
Tombstone's okay, but...
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I like how I like how thick it is.
It was thick, and then I got a DiGiorno stuffed crust,
I haven't had
which
that.
was pretty
That's probably
banging
good.
too.
That's probably
Yeah,
good. Yeah. The
that was good.
I really like the Kirkland. Kirkland's my favorite though by far. Kirkland
I
blows
know.
Elio's out of the water. Yeah,
I'm so pissed.
Kirkland's in its own fucking league.
Costco's the only spot that sells it. They didn't sell it at Walmart.
No, Kirkland is the Costco brand, so yeah, they're the only place that sells it.
Oh, there's such fucking trash at Walmart. Just side note, man. Like, when I go there and see actual fucking human beings, like some of them are just like, I'm just like, what are you doing, man?
There's a website called I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's like the People of Walmart or something.
Oh, seriously?
Where it just shows the most ridiculous shit ever.
I could probably add some good shit to there at the Walmart by me. There's some just fucking characters.
Did you see the eclipse or no?
Yeah, I did. I was a groupie.
Did you have the glasses?
I made some makeshift shit. Well, the lady next to me made them. I used them. But then this kid brought in glasses, and that shit made a big difference.
Oh yeah, I was lucky. Somebody gave me the glasses.
Yep.
Blocks out like 99.9% of the light or something.
But they gave me the glasses at first, and I wasn't looking at the moon, and I thought they were just fucking with me because it was all black.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, I was
you
like,
can put your hand right here with those glasses. You can't see it.
Yeah, I was like, what? And he was like, look up at the fucking sun.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was like looking at the fucking moon at nighttime. Like,
I knew you were gonna say it's overrated as a motherfucker. I knew you'd say that because I'm not gonna lie. I agree with that a little bit. Like, it is a little bit overrated. But the thing that I thought was the coolest thing is that it made the moon look like it was so close.
So, what do you mean by that? I mean, like...
So I had on the glasses,
mm-hmm.
and I looked up at it, and for
I mean, if you look at the moon when it's a fucking full moon, you could, like... You've been to Florida before. Have you ever looked off in the sunset and, like, the moon is fucking ginormous?
Yeah, I've seen, like, big moons before, but...
Like, not in the sky. Like, that shit looks like it's like you could fucking put your hand out and that shit, like, is right there.
Well, I don't know if I've ever experienced it like that. I mean, I've seen big moons before, but it's all relative. So, like, when you see it in comparison to the sun, because it's right in front of the fucking sun, I was like, damn, the moon looks really fucking close. Like,
yeah.
That made me feel like I could reach out and grab it. But we didn't even have the full effects, because I don't know where you were in the belt, like...
I was in a primetime spot. Illinois was like right through the fucking Mecca.
Oh,
like,
so you got the full eclipse. So let me ask you, did it...
There was a little sliver. Like, there was a spot of Illinois that completely blocked it.
Right, but you were a little bit away from
3 hours away.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So yeah, I had only...
sliver left.
I only had the peak for me was 70%. It was a 70% eclipse for me.
Oh, okay.
But there were parts...
Yours probably the same as mine.
No, yours was better. Yours was better.
Really?
If you only had a little sliver, you were probably 85%
sliver.
or 90% or some shit. But there were people who were 100%. And they showed, like... I saw videos of it, and it literally just gets black. Like, everything just gets dark.
My cousin, he lives in Atlanta. He goes to, like, this camping ground spot in North Carolina or something like that, and supposedly that was, like that spot was directly on the route, so it was like 100%. And he's got a camera that's absurd. He had pictures that were like the whole shit was blocked, and he was like, it was fascinating because it was cloudy the whole fucking time, and right when it happened, it like on some like miraculous shit, like it cleared up, and like everybody saw it perfectly, and like it got like it was dark nighttime.
That's so crazy.
Like, when you break it down, like on my end, because big picture, I'm like, whatever, like that shit is, whatever, it's overrated. But like when you break it down and start thinking about what the fuck is actually going on, like it's fascinating that like the moon is like fucking circulating, and right then it's like we could see it blocking the sun, and like it's fucking cool. Like the science behind it is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like someone was saying, like the fact that scientists could predict that shit down to like the minute of when it was gonna happen, like, is just, it's absurd. The fact that some people don't believe in science is just stupid. Like, for that reason.
My buddy was saying, like, doesn't it make you feel so small looking at that? And then I was thinking, like, dude, we're just looking at the moon and the sun. Now think of the solar system, so much bigger than just the moon and the sun, so much bigger. Then think of the galaxy, which is bigger than that shit. Then think of the universe.
I know.
So you get like bigger, and then there's a popular theory that there could be a multiverse where there's multiple universes.
Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So, and have you ever seen? I'm sure you have the pictures of the Earth from a spaceship really far away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fucking 7 billion fucking people are on that thing.
I know.
Everything we've ever known is on that thing, which is just a little dot from all the way out there.
Astronomy, like, I've always loved. I didn't appreciate it when I was in high school. Like, we had a really cool teacher. Did you have Mr. Zeller?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he was like a really cool teacher, and like people would clown on him because he was like the most extra dude. Like when it came to like just being about astronomy, like he'd be like look at this star, like it's just like, fascinating. And we'd
starts
be like,
jerking off in class. Oh
yeah, like,
yes, Beetlejuice, yes.
Yeah, for real, he beats off to that shit. And Orion's Belt, and there was one like girl star constellation. But like back then, I didn't really appreciate it. But like, it's also on another level of thinking for me. Like it's just stuff that like it makes your head, fucking blow if you start thinking about what's really going on.
Well, that's the next point I was going to make, is that like I literally can't comprehend it. Like at a certain point, my mind is like, nope. And I'm like, wait, no, but I want to think about that. And it's like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
You're incapable of doing that. It's like trying to teach a fucking mosquito to learn how to speak German or some shit. They're just like, no, I can't do it. It's just beyond my capability. And that's my mind is like, it's cute that you think you could get into that thing because you just just like it shuts off. It's like there's a no-go zone. You just can't go there.
That's like, that's how I am with that. I'm just like,
yeah, me too.
100%. I'm not smart enough to even like figure out what the fuck is going on. A lot of people aren't. There's only a very few Neil deGrasse Tysons and shit like that. But
that's a hard thing for people to accept, that like we have limits to what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea of humans, we can do anything. No, we can't. We can do a lot of shit, but there's a lot of shit that we're nowhere near able to do.
Yep.
Like and just to put it in perspective, there are more primitive things that exist that can do shit that we can't do. It's like a bat with fucking echolocation, where it's like it can't see or something, but it can bounce something off the wall and sense where it is. It's like we can't. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you can't do that shit. Mm-hmm. So like, what makes you think when that thing is more primitive than us and it can do this thing that we can't do, that somehow we're capable of everything?
Yeah.
No.
Or even canines, like when they bring them around the airport, that could smell like a billion times better than us.
Exactly. Like just a little particle of something, like, and they can smell it. And somebody explained that to me in a really interesting way. They were like, think of it like a skunk. Human beings were particularly sensitive to skunk smell. So if there's a skunk like 2 blocks away and it sprays, we could be like, damn, I smell that. Now a dog is like that with everything.
Yep.
So like if there's somebody cooking some fucking pasta or some shit 2 blocks away in their house, I can't smell that shit in my house. But the dog could start doing that shit.
Yep.
And isn't it crazy how animals can sense when there's about to be like a natural disaster? Isn't that crazy?
They're the craziest, even on a smaller scale. Like when me and wife are like going away for the weekend, and we'll just take our luggage out. The dogs start bugging out. Like they'll run around the house. They'll start fucking peeing and shitting all over the house because they know like we're about to leave. Damn. And like I don't know what feeling comes across them, but it's like, okay, we're not gonna be with our owner, or whatever. Like they you're right. They have that sense like something's gonna go on.
Yeah.
Or even with girls when they say they know it's gonna rain and their hair starts getting frizzy and they could feel it. A lot of girls say that, so I'm not a girl. I don't know if it's bullshit or not, but there must be something going on where they could feel like.
So there's some people after they've had like surgery or something, like they get a metal plate put in their knee or whatever. Like they'll tell you like, yeah, it's gonna rain in a little bit, and then it started raining or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people have these senses. I don't know. Instincts are a big thing. Like we're not capable of doing. Humans are just not capable of so much shit. But like every now and then you get a little glimpse of what it's like to have these extra capabilities.
Yeah.
And it's a wild fucking thing, man.
It's back to the fucking solar eclipse things, it sort of takes away from it a little bit that everything nowadays has to be like this huge fucking like event and like.
Now, I get it for the solar eclipse. I get it. I mean, I agree with you that it was slightly
But I
overrated.
went on the NASA site and it was like, this is brought to you by Volvo and like.
What? NASA brought you by Volvo?
I don't know if it was NASA or CNN maybe.
It had to
Sorry,
be CNN,
sorry.
not
Yeah,
NASA. Who can't do that shit?
it was maybe CNN. I went to the live feed and it was like Volvo sponsored the 27 eclipse.
Okay,
Like,
you're right about like CNN and Fox News and MSNBC were fucking unbearable because all they covered was that shit, and they were covering it in the most obnoxious, know nothing way.
yeah, but like, don't look at the sun. Don't look at the sun. Don't look at the sun. Wear
I
the
know,
glasses.
right?
Like, I fucking get it. I
Yeah.
will never look at the sun,
Son,
even on a non-solar eclipse day.
The Washington Post, I'm not kidding about this, had a live feed where they had the camera on goats to see if the goats would faint when the solar eclipse happened. That's the Washington Post.
No,
That's one
they
of the-
didn't.
Yes, they did.
Are you
That's
serious?
That's one of the top fucking newspapers in the country. They had a live feed of goats to see if they
What's
would
supposed to,
fucking
like,
faint.
Because when it gets dark, goats faint or some shit.
I don't
Why-
know. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. That looks like a comedy skit that I would make or something.
Yeah,
Fainting
that's-
goats. Here we
hey,
go. Like, that's what they did. It's fucking
It's-
crazy. The media just sucks. They're just so
They
fucking bad.
do like the whole. I get it with the sunglasses shit, but it was just like it was so fucking much that people start making fun of it because
Yeah.
it's just like stop already, stop. Like that's why we don't watch you because
Yeah.
you're like a fucking parent
Yep.
who keeps telling me the same shit that eventually. I'm sure everybody went out there and fucking looked at the sun with their fucking bare eyes
A
because
lot
they
of
were
people
so
did.
tired of being told
You
not
saw
to look at the
You saw Trump did it?
dude.
It looked so funny. He was like,
How does he communicate with fucking Melania? Like or like he was like he looked at it and then looked at her, and had a like this interaction that was just like, oh wow, and you read his lips and he was like, oh it's bright, like it's very bright or something, and she just like doesn't even like. It's not even like it doesn't seem like there's fucking communication there at all. You know, like
that's a bizarre relationship. I mean, first of all, we're talking about Donald Trump. Like, this guy, we know what he was like his entire life. Like, he's always
Yeah.
been like a fame chaser and like a status monger, you know? And like, so
like if you think about their actual relationship, like
that's what I mean. Like, anybody who would give him the time of day is already
but
like
not even
suspect.
that. Like if you break it down, like technically he like didn't he like bring her over from her country
She was
and
an
like
immigrant, yeah. She was an immigrant. And then he's massively anti-immigrant.
yeah, so like
Unless he marries them, he's against them.
yeah, that and then like he has to be that dumbass to fucking look up at the sun without the glasses. Like, dude, you know every camera is gonna be snapping and looking at you. Like, why? Like, well, for what reason? So people can be like, oh, he doesn't believe in.
Fake news media tells me not to look at the sun. I look at the sun. Believe me.
It's such a fucking joke.
It's just
But,
that
like-
he's such a child. That's what he is. Like, he acts like a fucking child in so many ways.
But everybody who doesn't believe in science and all this shit for that day, for that time, it's like it's cool then. Like
That's
okay,
what I
science
was
is
saying
cool
that
then.
yesterday. Like, everybody who says that climate change isn't real, it's like, okay, well, the same people who told you exactly when you were going to get to see the eclipse are the same people who are telling you that the climate is changing and we need to do something to stop it. You know? And and the same people will just ignore it. They don't give a fuck. Christian fundamentalists are like, yeah, watching the eclipse. Like, bitch.
Yeah.
So now you listen to scientists once. Once in your life, you listen to them. Outside of
It's
that,
so
you say the world's 6,000 years old. Evolution's not real. You know.
The
Climate
Earth is
change
flat.
isn't happening. Yeah, Earth
Like,
is flat.
come
Climate
on.
change isn't
What's
happening.
up with that?
Flat Earthers, man, they're making a rebound because of the internet.
Well, Kyrie Irving said some shit.
Kyrie Irving, Shaq agreed with him.
No,
Swear to God, Shaq agreed with him.
they
he was
probably just
serious.
want some publicity.
Nah,
or
Shaq
some
was serious.
shit.
I heard the clip. He was 100% serious. 100% serious. Yeah, and it's all because of the internet. Because, like, look, man, on the internet, and I'm not one to talk because I fucking talk on the internet for
Yeah, but you
what
don't
I
spew
do.
out fake shit or
No,
like,
no,
put
I
up
don't
a-
do fake shit. But I'm just saying, like, I understand
Oh yeah,
the
you have
irony
to.
of me saying, like, be careful about what you hear on the internet. But, like, yeah, there's a bunch of, like, videos, like conspiracy videos about the flat Earth, and all
Mhm.
like it's so easy to craft an argument that sounds convincing, even if it's total bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
And like I don't know if you saw the argument between Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo, his friend Eddie Bravo, because Eddie Bravo now believes in flat Earth. But like they
No, I
had a
never
long
know.
like 2 hour fucking argument about flat Earth, and like Eddie Bravo, it was clear he watched a few YouTube videos that like got into flat Earth, and like what these videos usually do is they'll mix in like they'll sprinkle in little bits of truth, but then give like things that are also massively misleading. So they cite this like study. He cites this study, and then they look up the study, and the study's conclusion is the opposite of what the flat earthers portray it as. So it's almost like you can craft something to sound convincing
Of course.
with just little sleights of hand here and there, and little misleading statements here and there, where you gum to the opposite conclusion of what the conclusion really is. And that's with a lot
It's
of
like
things,
a
man.
magician. It's like just an online internet magician who's
Yeah,
not doing a
basically.
trick in front of you.
Yeah, you can. You know, a lot of the 9/11 conspiracy videos are good at this too. Like they'll harp away on little inconsistencies in the official story of what happened on 9/11, and then they weave together a story based on the inconsistencies in the official story, and then their grand conclusion is like ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
take
yeah.
little bits of truth, and you poke holes in a story that's flawed. And then at the end of it, you take a giant leap, and you're like, and that's why the government did 9/11 and fucking stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a conspiracy. That's why a
It's
lot of
tough
people.
to believe what the fuck is true and false now on the internet, man. John Oliver did that skit. I was just like, of all, like when people post these, it's like a picture of like Gandhi or something like that, and there's a quote next to it, and it's just like,
Yeah, it's like nobody.
I
He didn't
once
say
sucked
that.
a dick.
Yeah,
And it's just
exactly.
like,
I sharded on my
yeah, but then
friend's
it's got his,
salad.
yeah, exactly, and it says like just Gandhi, and you're like, I guess he said it. It's on
Exactly.
this fucking meme.
100%. Yeah,
Like shit
and
like
people.
that. I mean, like, who knows what the fuck like this dude from 1764 said, like fucking conquering Aztec warriors and shit like that.
People also like to feel like they're part, like they're part of this group that knows everything, and you just let me just enlighten you, and like I'm gonna let you in on this special shit, you
Yeah.
know? Like people like to feel like, I figured this shit out, like I got it, like I got all this shit on lock, and like maybe I'll share the information with you, and then it feeds into their narrative when people point out, like, disagree with them and say, come on, man, that's crazy. They think like, there you go, another person who's brainwashed. So it like feeds into their like cultish kind of behavior. And that's not to
Yeah.
say that like there's never been a conspiracy that's true. Of course, some conspiracies have happened throughout history, but like the really big ones that that are gaining prominence again, like the flat Earth one, is like, wow, really, dude? Like you fucking really? You went down that rabbit hole? I mean,
I think it was Bill Maher on this past week's show that was just like, there can't be any truth to like these Area 51s and all these conspiracy theories because with Trump president, like
he would have
all this shit
tweeted it
would've-
on day one.
yeah, all this shit would have came out already. Like there is no Area 51 or there's aliens fucking hidden there.
Yeah, that's probably true. He can't keep his fucking mouth shut. But then again, he's also an idiot. I remember when he was tweeting about a story that was in like some shitty far right outlet, whether it's like Daily Caller or Breitbart or just some Washington Free Beacon, some far right like website that's really not good. Like they make shit up all the time. He tweeted about an article that they wrote. The article claimed that Obama was spying on Trump, and he tweeted about it, and saying like Obama spied on me, said or whatever, and then everybody was like, hey, jackass, you're the president. You have direct connection to the CIA and to all the intelligence agencies. You want to find out what the fuck's going on? Why don't you pick up the phone and talk to people at the fucking CIA and the NSA? You know you could do that, right? You know you have top security clearance, right? Instead, you're reading a shitty article on a far-right website and just taking their word for it like it's true.
Yeah.
And then if he were to fucking go down the right path and ask the right people, he would have found out that, of course, that wasn't the case. Obama wasn't doing that. I don't doubt that maybe there were people in the intelligence agencies that were looking into his shit, but it's not like Obama was sitting in the Oval Office like, oh, let me look at what he's fucking doing. Obama knows he's up to some creepy shit, that Trump's up to some creepy shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Who knows
Hell
what's in that
fucking yeah.
guy's fucking computer search history?
Oh, my God. But it's sad that like even when you thought with the fucking Charlottesville thing and his comments and everybody was like, this is the one, this is the thing that's gonna like, it's a fucking what is it? Almost a week later. It
Yeah,
seems like old
move on
news
to the
already.
next
It
thing. Yeah,
seems like
move
it's
on
just
to
the
the
next
next thing.
shit.
Every time, move on to the next thing, move on to the next thing. That's
Which
why
is
I've been hesitant to ever say, like, his presidency is over. He's not going to make it a full term. Because you don't fucking know that. You don't know that. Nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows.
and there was people yesterday. I saw. I think it was you retweeted it or something like that. Someone put out his speech tonight was he's presidential. It was like they're
Yep.
back to that shit again.
Yeah.
Were there multiple people? Because I thought I saw one
There were
person.
multiple. There were multiple. Yeah, where they're like, this is President Trump acknowledging facts, doing a sober analysis, saying shit like that. It's like, oh, here we go again. Like fucking, oh, he's presidential because now he's bombing shit like all the other presidents. Like, wow, great. He causes more chaos and destruction, and since other presidents do that, now he's so presidential.
I didn't even pay attention to that fucking shit, man. I watched for 2 seconds, honestly, and I was just like, I don't want my fucking view of my television to go towards this motherfucker so he can say like it was the highest viewed fucking interruption of a TV show ever.
And then this motherfucker, like, he tweeted today, like, just a few hours ago, and I responded to it because I couldn't help myself, but tweeting out, like, this fucking thing of him, like, giving this, like, talking about the military, and, he's got a video with it, and it's like a slow motion pan out while Trump is talking, and there's military people in the audience fucking clapping, and he's talking about, using fucking like flowery concepts like the virtue of our soldiers and the glory of the this and the that, and it's like, motherfucker, are you reading a fortune cookie or are you crafting policy? Like, I hate it when fucking politicians do that shit where it's like
that corny video with
yeah,
music
the corny
and this
shit
and
with
that.
the fucking, they talk about how our country is so great and we will achieve victory and it will be glorious. And they talk about all these, like, concepts and shit, but they don't say anything. It's like
It's just vague fucking nonsense.
Exactly.
Shit.
They
Like you
say
said that
shit
winning
without
thing.
saying anything. Exactly.
You said that yesterday in one of your tweets. It was just like what the fuck is winning? What is winning? Like what are our fucking any corporation? If you fucking are at the bottom level of a job, if you're a business starting out, you need a fucking like strategy. You need a business plan. You need fucking goals to hit. Like we are in war with winning as our fucking like business strategy.
Yeah, and you go, what is winning? Who has to be defeated? Well, we got to get Osama bin Laden. Okay, mission accomplished. Let's go home. Let's go home. We already got him. We got to get Saddam. Mission accomplished. Let's go. What are we doing? We got to get Al Qaeda. There's no more Al Qaeda in Afghanistan. They're not there. They're gone. So let's go. The fuck are we waiting for? So now they don't even bother. They don't even bother anymore a lot of the time. Oh, we got to stay there. Okay, but what are we fucking staying there? The Taliban. The Taliban never attacked us, motherfucker. They're terrible. They're horrible. Obviously, everybody knows that. But they didn't attack us. They control 40% of the country. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? We're going to send another 4,000 troops there. We're going to push them back from having control of 40% of the country to 38% of the country. And then what? And then whenever we leave, they're going to take over more territory again. It doesn't matter when. We can leave now, we can leave in 10 years, we can leave in 100 years. Whenever we leave, the Taliban's going to take over more fucking territory. So what are we going to do? Stay there forever? I say that, but a lot of people in Washington would say, yes, let's do that. Lindsey Graham. Like, yeah, we don't go. We stay there.
We'll be fucking 50, 60, 70 years old. We'll still be in these fucking places.
It's not sustainable, man. Like, we're going to have a giant economic crash at some point, where half the country already makes $30,000 a year or less. Like, all
That's
this,
wild.
I'm pessimistic long term. I really am. Like, we're going to have a giant economic crash at some point and not even too far off in the future. I mean, because so many things are out of whack. We have a student loan debt crisis. People can't even file. They can't even file for bankruptcy on their student loan debt.
Yeah,
that's one of the only kinds of debt that you can't do that. Anything else, you go to bankruptcy, you could wipe the slate clean. You can't do that with student loans. There's a student loan debt crisis. There's a regular debt, credit card debt crisis. Okay, there's derivatives.
Cars and all that shit, right? Cars is one.
We're right back to the same old tricks with the subprime mortgage loans for real estate. Derivatives is totally unregulated. Wall Street's going right back to the casino capitalist bets that they were doing all along. We can see the bubble in the stock market again. Like, it's been crazy growth in the stock market. Does anybody really believe our economy's gotten that much better? We've manufactured that much more shit. We're that much more healthy than we were in 2008 when the fucking economy nearly crashed and no, of course not. It's all a trick. We reinflated the bubble. And now the income inequality is worse than ever. So what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Half the country's fucking poor. And we're not going to, the jig is up at a certain point, man. People can't, they already maxed out their fucking credit cards. They don't have any fucking money. The housing prices are preposterous. You have a fucking house that's the size of a cardboard box in LA or New York and they want you to give them $700,000 for that shit. You have millennials who have no fucking money. What do you think is going to happen? We got military bases all over the world. Wars going on everywhere. Wall Street totally unregulated. People don't have money. So what's going to happen? It's all going to the jig is going to be up soon, man.
Who do you think the next to go is in Trump's? You think Kellyanne Conway will ever be out? I don't even see her on TV anymore. But I don't really watch.
What her official position is. Is she just a surrogate, a Trump surrogate? I don't know. I don't know what.
Wasn't she? Well, she was just a campaign manager still, or she was his campaign manager.
At one point she was either a top strategist or a campaign manager, but now I don't know
what. On TV speaking for him and shit like that.
Yeah, so she might just be a surrogate, like goes out on TV and just defends him and shit. But
oh, really?
Probably the next one to go is Seb Gorka, because Seb Gorka was a dude who was linked with Steve Bannon, and now that Steve Bannon's not there to like protect him, Trump will probably let him go at some point. It's
such a little fucking like elementary school like girls' cafeteria table at the fucking White House where it's just like, this guy's leaking shit, and it's like, all right, he's gonna be out.
Did you happen to see? You probably didn't, but it was like one of Donald Trump's sons' Twitter feed the other day, like the day he fired Bannon.
Nah.
Like one of Trump's sons said some shit. It was honestly like a 16-year-old girl's Facebook page where it was like, the way you could tell a real friend is if what they say to you in person matches up with what they say to you publicly. It was like some shit like that. And I'm reading it going, your dad is the motherfucking president. What? You're acting like a little toddler. It really is like the Real Housewives of D.C. Like that's what this fucking administration is.
Yeah.
Like he has no core, he has no principles, he has nothing he actually believes and he's fighting for. So he's just a dude who loves power, who's in a position of power, and he wants to keep that power, and he wants a cult of personality around him that's going to back his every move. So that's why he axing people left and right. You said this thing I don't like. You're getting too much attention. I don't like that. You got on my bad side this day. We're going to let you go. It's just nonstop.
Yeah. It's sad that like the places that he's always speaking from are these places that either are forced to listen to him, the fucking military, or he goes to these spots that are super conservative, Kentucky or where? A spot in Texas or some shit like that.
He runs to his safe space. He runs to his safe space to get his morale boosted up by an audience that loves him. There was a poll the other day, 61% of his supporters said they will never change their mind about him no matter what he does. 61%. That is crazy. But then the flip side of that, though, is this. That as of right now, he only has like a 30% approval rating. So basically what they're saying is, of that 30% that approves of him, 61% will never leave him. So I'm not good at math, but that's about 20% of the country says, I'll never change my mind about him. But that means, that 80% are like, yeah, I can get to the point where I say, fuck him.
Yeah.
So it's like a cult of personality.
I feel like the only people that can do that to you is like a religious person, like a priest or some shit, the Pope, maybe your fucking father or grandfather. There's not a lot of people, like a coach maybe, that you can really, really... A lot of people... That's tough to fucking have that much control over someone where
it's like a
just
religion.
like...
That you nailed it with the first thing you said. That's what it is. It's like a fundamentalist religion. And it's not a coincidence that same roughly 20% of people in the country...
Probably super Catholic or Christian or whatever.
Super evangelical Christian. So, yeah, but, he's in trouble. But the Democrats got to get their shit together because the Democrats, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I like this guy that's on Bill Maher.
I didn't see
who's
him.
on the...
I didn't see Bill Maher.
He's from California, good-looking dude.
Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, you a fan of him?
He's not... Okay, here's the thing about Gavin Newsom. In terms of his policy positions, he's not that bad. Like, he's pretty good, his policy positions.
Yeah.
But some about the guy rubs me the wrong way, man. Like, he
Really?
strikes me as kind of like a
smooth...
classic slimy politician. Like he's trying to get ahead and trying to be president and trying, like he really wants it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that, but then again, I also see like there was some girl on the show, and he was like, he seemed humble, like she was ODing, she kept talking and cutting him off, and he was just like letting her have it. He wasn't getting like he didn't come across to me as like some cocky, like, because obviously looking at him, he's got these good looking dude, got his hair slicked back
hair,
fly ass suit. Yeah, you're just like, here's another one of these fucking dudes. But I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what his plans are. Like, I know he's trying to run for governor of California, but Mars always like please be on the ticket for, you know, presidency in 18 or 20.
So I have to look at his funding and stuff and look more into his record. I know the few stories I've heard of him so far have been positive ones where you know, he was ahead of a bunch of other Democrats on some important issues, but yeah, I don't know. I have to check his funding, and then I'd have to get over his general demeanor, because it just strikes me as like, so with Trump, you get the crazy loose cannon who's just like, oh, I'm going to shoot from the hip and say whatever, believe me. And then with Gavin Newsom, you get the opposite. I feel like he's too polished. He's like, he's perfect. Like, he's a fucking Ken doll.
Does seem like a perfect fucking
There's some about that I don't like. I'm more of a Bernie Sanders guy, where I like the fucking disheveled hair, and he's out there, let me tell you about Medicare for all. Because you can tell he cares, and that's what he's really out there for. With Gavin Newsom, you don't know, is he a narcissistic career politician, or does he really care? But either way, at this point, I mean, it's clear anybody's better than Trump. I mean, but that's not hard. That bar is so low to say that, you know?
Switching, I was watching Wahlburgers, you know, the show with like so it's Mark Wahlberg, his brother Donnie, and his other brother, I don't know his fucking name, but they have a burger like restaurant that's like massive now, it's like worldwide, and this dude Joey Fatone wanted
my sister,
he wanted his advice. He seemed mad cool. He wanted his advice because I guess in Orlando he started this like hot dog chain called like Fat Ones, and you like, put it together as like Patone, and he wanted Donnie's advice on like how to like grow his franchise and shit like that. And it was just funny because I remember you told me like your sister was like hanging out with him at a barbecue or some shit, and said he was like mad cool dude.
Yeah, that dude's from NSYNC, like fucking massively famous.
Yeah.
And then my sister said like, so it's my sister's friend's cousin. That's who he is. And my sister's friend was like, oh, you want to come to a barbecue? And I think the barbecue was either at his house or at one of their mutual friends' house or something. Mm-hmm. But she was like, yeah, I met him. And
did she fangirl out like a motherfucker?
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Oh,
She was cool. But he was like, hey, I'm Joey Fatone from NSYNC. Like,
that's how he introduced himself?
Like, yeah, I'm from NSYNC. But he was a cool guy though overall. He wasn't trying to be like, blow me or something. He was like, yeah, that like I'm the guy. Like he was kind of like a jovial, like outgoing, like
he seemed like that type. But like, come on, you don't gotta add the NSYNC shit at the end. That's just like
I'd probably do it if I was him. Like, yeah.
If you met someone, you'd be like, hey, I'm Kyle Kalinske from Secular
Actually,
Talk.
Yeah, I
you
never
would
do
just
that.
fucking say you're Kyle.
I never do that. Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, I'm Kyle. And then
like,
if do I know you from somewhere? I'd be like, no, you don't know me from anywhere. You've never seen me before in your life.
I hate that when motherfuckers are like, well, because I used to work at an ice cream store, and like mad people would come through to it, and they'd be like, I know you from somewhere. And then you got to just start naming shit. You're like, you fucking go through like your resume. You're just like, is it the ice cream store? Was it Sleepaway Camp? Was it Did I Meet You Here? And then just like, no. Like, the motherfucker, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like,
it gets a little weird for me when people ask, oh, what do you do? And then I tell them. And then they think it's really cool. Mm-hmm. But then you're always like thinking like, there's a chance that this person is massively Republican. And now that they...
Oh, you think? That's what they think?
Now that they open the door to like talk about this shit, it's like, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to like fucking argue with this person, because I've had people ask me Like, oh, what do you do? And then I tell them. And then later on, they'll be like, oh, is it like left-leaning or right-leaning? And then I'll be like, we're left-leaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like a moment of like, is this person going to be like a fucking Hannity fan? Like, because they're out there. These people are out there. So I never, like, volunteer it.
Yeah.
I'm always like, yeah, this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of wait and see what happens.
See their reaction. Well, they're fucking, I don't know.
And sometimes there's a mix. Like, you always also don't know if people are going to look at you like.
But you don't
like,
know how
okay,
they're fucking fall on the scale too. You know?
What's that?
You don't know how they fall on the scale too. So I mean, like.
Well, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm like,
oh,
what?
Yeah.
What, like, I don't know what they are, what they believe, and then if they ask me and I tell them what I am and they massively disagree, I don't want to have a debate about fucking Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity or Trump and, while I'm there. Like, that's just...
True.
So, but sometimes you also are sensitive to the people who, like, might be old school. Like, what do you do for a living? And then you tell them, and then it's almost like, okay, like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, how's that going? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're also sensitive to that, but I've to be fair, I've actually haven't gotten that much, like the feeling of somebody being dismissive about it. It's almost universal that they're like really interested in it. Like, oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like that would be more of an intrigue than like a weirded out thing, you know?
Yeah, that
just
is
because
what
technology is more embraced now. You know, it's more acceptable.
Yeah, but not gonna lie, when I started doing this, I was more hesitant to tell people.
Oh yeah, I can
because
see
you
that.
feel more like I wasn't as socially acceptable back then. Not just because I didn't have as much success on the channel, but also because it wasn't as big. Like, so it's almost like you mention it, and it's almost like you're telling somebody you don't have a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, I don't know when that point was, it became like, no, if you say that, that's now a thing that everybody gets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a time where if you said I'm a YouTuber, people be like,
what do you do with yourself?
like, what? Yeah. So you jerk off all day. Is that what you're telling me? And then, but at a certain point, it became like people be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like tell me more. Like what? Yeah.
Right, yeah. So
I know a lot of people. My wife says she watches all these fucking. I don't remember what the fuck it is. Fuck that.
that's a great way to end because I'm about to piss myself.
No, but just quickly, I thought that
yeah, go ahead.
Those events like the fucking solar eclipse and all that shit, I think was fucking awesome. Like they interviewed some little girl or whatever, and she was just like, it was cool, you know, seeing all the science and all this shit. Like events like that are fucking pretty sweet. I just hate when it's all hyped up like too much, you know?
Yeah, the coolest part I thought was how it to me it just looked so close to me. Yeah. I think I had some bomb ass glasses too though that I could see the total outline of the moon even though I had a decent amount of sun showing over it.
Yeah.
But like
was it cloudy by you?
No, it wasn't cloudy.
Oh, it wasn't.
But I was surprised I was surprised at how bright it still was. Mm-hmm. I had 70% cover of the moon, so 30% of the sun was showing.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like a weird light, like a Marsy type light we were getting, like this kind of light I'd never seen really. But it was still pretty light, and I was a little surprised by that. I would have been really interested to see the full one.
I know.
Where it gets
I think it got really dark because my cousin had photos. It was like the sky was purple, the stars and all this shit. He had some sick fucking photos.
I saw a video from Florida, and it was just dark. It was just dark. And you're like, whoa, really?
They had a video. I don't know who posted it. It was like some fucking thing. It was like from India, maybe last year or something like that. And they were all on the water, and it was like a clear day, and it was bright and sunny. And then the fucking sky starts getting like pink and red, and then it completely gets dark. It was so awesome. It was like.
Nature can be gorgeous, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Even if you winter scene or a tropical scene, or you just get the right picture with the right lens at the right time, you can just marvel at it. Like, what the fuck is this? Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, guys. We're donezo. I love you. I'm going to go piss myself real quick, or maybe barely make it to the bathroom. Peace.